Good morning, everyone. It is Kandice here again with our last and final episode of our Unapologetic Black Woman series. And I have had such an amazing time this February Black History Month of 2022. Just having a good time interviewing some really amazing unapologetic Black women. And we are going to keep that train moving today. We are ending out this series with none other than Laurin Talese. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
Hi, everybody. My name is Laurin Talese. I am a vocalist, a composer, and a whole bunch of other things. But I'm so happy to be here with you, Kandice.
Oh, absolutely. You guys, if you see a little bit of a delay, please listen. We're just going to keep this train moving because the audio is good. I can hear you. So we're going to keep it moving. Laurin, thank you so much for joining me today. It is an honor and a privilege. When you said a whole host of other things, you're absolutely right. You are so much in this life that you live. And I am just so excited to just spend some time with you today. So before we get going, I pride myself in doing some icebreakers. Icebreakers is a way for us to get our little mojo going and kind of, get some juices flowing a little bit. So I am going to do, if you are familiar with the Terrell show on YouTube, he always has a word, right? So there's a word that you'll have, and you have to sing a song that has that word in it.
Okay, I haven't sung today, so y'all about to hear some.
I'm sure it's still gonna be all right. Okay, so I am going to start with this word.
There's a song I'm thinking. I'm just trying to get to the part where it says it.
Yeah.
Dang, I can't think of the part. I'll just sing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey, love, time to get up. I think you've been sleeping too long. My day started when you were still yawning. One room just ain't enough when it's two folks trying to get along. But it's hard to leave me alone. Oh, love is always better when we take time to get back to who we are when we are apart. There's a long part. Hold on. I can't even get to the part. It's too many words. Give me the word.
It's cool.
To that one.
I love it. Hey, I'm here for the enjoyment, okay? I am here for the enjoyment.
There we go.
Yes.
I was like,
okay.
I was like, where is it? The second verse or the first verse? I just sang it at one of my shows and I can't remember. So crazy.
It's okay. It's okay. We have two more. Okay,
good.
Here's the second one. Are you ready?
I'm pouring some coffee because I haven't even had coffee yet today.
Look at, I know. Look at.
Wheels turning. Okay, go ahead.
Get your wheels turning. Absolutely. Coffee will do it for you. I loved when you were in the hotel singing you were doing your warm-ups and you were singing about coffee at the same time. I was like, absolutely. I understand. I understand you.
In there, I was like, yes.
Yes. So here's my second word. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Woman.
I don't know. A commercial. I am woman. How does it go? Sing it with me, Kandice.
Come on.
Woman, I am something. I am something. I can't remember, but it just was on.
Yes. Y'all, whatever. I look at. But now this one, Laurin, I know you're gonna get. Okay.
Okay.
I know you're gonna get this one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yes. Here it comes, the winter of our love. I pray it isn't long, but oh, in case we both get stuck, don't know how to move on.
Oh, Laurin, can I? You know what? I just want to. I just want to thank you so much for
That was
that.
so
Thank
funny.
you so much for that, Laurin. Winter. That song. It. I don't. I love everything about that song.
Thank
Every single
you.
thing about that song. And when you were here at the Soiled Dove,
Mhm.
I remember like when you started singing it, I was in such euphoria because I was able to hear you sing it live. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is all that I ever wanted. And
Oh,
so, girl, y'all, if you have not heard Winter, please, 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 you gotta hear it.
that is
Because
so
I
kind.
kind of want to talk about a little bit of Winter later,
Okay.
but I want to talk about just a couple of things. So
Okay.
first, I want to congratulate you for. I know that you're a new auntie.
I am a new auntie.
Oh
I'm
my goodness! How? Oh,
proud.
you got your coffee ready?
Cheers.
Cheers! Absolutely! Cheers!
Here's my
Cheers! Cheers!
new
How
satchel.
do you like your coffee? It looks awfully dark over there.
Yes, I like black coffee.
That's it? There's
Yeah,
nothing else in it?
there's a little honey in it. Yeah,
Mmm.
but I like black coffee a lot. That's what I make on
Wow,
at home.
Laurin! Look,
Somewhere else, then I'll have a latte somewhere else. But at home, I always make black coffee.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Well, I want to say congratulations on your new nephew. Tell me how that is being an auntie.
It's something because you get to see all the features that are in my case, my brother, who I grew up with. He's 15 months younger than me. We're
Yeah.
super close, and to see his features in my nephew has been something. I see his mom a lot too, but also just to see how it's impacted them as parents and the decisions that they have to make, how they're adjusting. Some things are harder than others, but it's all good. But
Yeah.
just adapting, very well, adapting your life to a child being in it is different. There's so many concessions and so many just you just live completely differently. So
Yeah. It is a completely different thing. You're absolutely right. So
yeah.
congratulations. I didn't even know you guys are 15 months apart.
Yes, that's just one of my brothers. But yeah, we were like the first and second of the brood. Yeah. Yes, my mom was like, when I found out I was pregnant with him, I just was about to faint because I couldn't believe it. Because you were only about to be one, and I was like, yeah, no, I couldn't imagine. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know that you're just over the moon. I
I
know I'm
am.
an auntie of about three nephews as well. Well, not as well, but in addition to what you
Yeah.
currently have. And I love it. I love, love, love it. And you are all over right now, Laurin. Like you are making your mark. How do you feel being able to perform live again?
It felt so amazing to be on stage. So last Friday, I had a show at the Kennedy Center, which was amazing. It was a milestone moment for me because it's one of the prestigious venues that I've been wanting to perform at for a while.
Yeah.
And so I sold it out, which was amazing. DC, all these beautiful, powerful, well dressed, elegant Black women and men in the audience. They could feel me. I debuted new songs. And it was just a lot at one time. The band sounded amazing. And
Mm.
it just was, it kind of transported me back to before the pandemic. And that
Yes.
was a great space. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still I just feel optimistic and kind of on a high. I felt
Mhm.
like before I was performing live, I didn't know it, but maybe I was in a little like there was part of me that was missing a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So getting back on stage and actually being able to express myself and relate to and with the folks in the audience just was
Yeah.
cathartic is the best word.
I believe it. I believe it. Now, Lauren, is this where you had this dress on?
This was that was at the Kimmel Center the next day.
Girl, girl, do you see you?
I didn't expect you to pull that picture.
I did. I absolutely pulled it up because
God.
when I say my girl was dressed to the nines, who made this dress? Because I know you said it was custom made.
Yes, so I have a wonderful friend named Manuela who doesn't live too far from me in the Philadelphia area, and she put it together.
Wow, Lauren. When I tell you, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the dress you had on and you were under blue lights, or was that on that
I
Friday?
was in the blue lights. So they have blue lights because of a different part of the presentation of my show has blue in it. So yeah, and it was perfect because it kind of gave blue a little bit. Yeah.
Listen, Lauren, I love, like I told you, I love your fashion. I love the way that you storytell on social media.
Thank you.
Yes, like and to meet her, you guys in person is just, it's like magnified. I have the pleasure of knowing Lauren through a good friend of mine, Ramon, and he always talked about you over and over and over again in college. And then when I was able to finally meet you, I was like, Ramon, you're right. She is all that.
Aww.
Really, like,
So much
who
in
you
college
on?
because he went to Xavier where you did, and then I went to University of Arts here in Philly, and it was so far, and I was doing the same thing, like telling all my friends, yes, like I love you guys, but my very best friend is Ramon, and he's all these amazing things, and then we decided to go to grad school in Philly. I was really excited about that.
I love that. And Lauren, you talked about having some really amazing men in your life. Can
Yeah.
you talk to us about that a little bit?
Well, I've always had a lot. Well, my brothers are amazing. My dad, uncles. I have a partner who's amazing. I just am always surrounded by very integrity filled, aspiring and achieving Black men, and I'm very fortunate. And Ramon is one of them, one of the many. But yeah, I have a lot of strong personalities, very accomplished, very curious, very firm. Like all of the adjectives are surrounded in my family and friends.
I love it.
Zane,
I love it.
loud, yeah. Only one of them isn't loud.
I love it.
Yeah.
What are some of your things that are key to keeping those relationships? What would you say is the key ingredient to a successful friendship?
Listening is one. And supporting them, being their cheerleader. I think, even if it's something I'm not excited about, I really try to, if I see somebody excited about something, get excited too and figure out what it is about it that makes them excited about it. And if somebody's got an idea or a concept that they're excited about, then I'm championing that you can do it. Like, and I believe they can. You don't want anybody around you that you don't believe in them anyway. So it's very easy for me to be there. But I'm that person. Like I'm an all-in type of friend. Like I'm really, really, really loyal and very excited for all my family and friends to be thriving. That's all I want for everybody. So that's just how I am. And I think when I feel that in return, it feels reciprocal and that keeps the love going. Like Ramon and I both are excited about everything, about life. We're still excited, like we're 16-year-olds going out of the country for the first time. And by now, both of us have seen a lot of the world, but we're just still really, really curious and excited about life in general. We're not jaded yet. And I think that's something that keeps our friendship alive because we both can go. We're different as night as day in some ways too. I'm a morning person. He's not a morning person, as you know. But for instance, if we travel to like Paris, I'll get up and get dressed super early. I'll be ready to leave out by 8 a.m. And I'll go on to walk the streets in the morning just to see people with their little baguettes and their papers and their coffee. I'm going to get a coffee myself, and he's sleeping. But by the time I get back, he's getting up. I bought some orange juice and some croissants, and he is getting ready. And then we go out and go to a museum or whatever together. And then at night, I'm in by midnight, and that's late for me. He's like, I have to go see what's happening at night on these streets. So then he'll leave out in the wee hours of the morning, and I'm up a few hours after he's back. You know what I mean? So we're kind of like yin and yang in that way. Like,
yes,
that also works. And just leave a room. I think what works with my partner and I is that both love our individuality. We both are not trying to, like, we're not the type of couple that is like, let's merge all our friends and be best friends with all our friends. Let's be cordial to our best friends. If we happen to run into them, obviously they could come over, whatever. I'm cordial and nice, and I love them. Yes. But I'm not trying to be their best friend too. Like, he's not trying to be my best friends too. He's not trying to go everywhere with me. I'm not trying to go everywhere with him. We do not have to hang out every day on our, excursions away from the house. We like to kind of experience life and then come back to each other and talk about what we've seen, as opposed to doing everything as like, a couple. That kind of would be boring to both of us and very confining. We both really, really like that all the time. So.
Wow, Laurin, you really said a lot. And I'm sorry, not in that way, but I love what you said when you said we don't have to make everybody's. Oh my God, when I tell you that turns into a mess, listen, like, there have been times in my life where I've had friends intermingle, and then you fall in love with that person, and then they're no longer together, but then you're like, but I'm still gonna hang with you. And then they started questioning your integrity, like, well, are you really my friend because you're still hanging? It turns into a mess. So
no. I'm literally like, he has a lot. Sean is loved by many. That's my partner's name. Yeah. And he has a lot of friends, but I would say there's one that I would call and say, hey, I'm trying to do the surprise thing for him. And that friend would talk to the other friends for me, as opposed to it being like me just friendly with all of them. Like, I'm friendly with them, but I'm not close to all of them. And even in the sore event, if something ever happened between us, I would still love his best friend, but I wouldn't be like, hey, so what's up? What you doing? Because that's not the type of thing we talk with. So
I hear you loud and clear. Laurin, I want to talk about the visionary side of you, because I know that listen, I know that you are someone who has a big imagination. And I really want to know, like, does your travels help you with your imagination to dream bigger? Would you say that?
100%. And whenever anybody asks me what inspires me, I say traveling. Because and it's so funny, because so many of my friends, we've all been traveling since 17, 18, thereabouts. More so in my 20s, I was traveling a whole bunch. But I mean, even now, I'm still traveling a whole bunch. Who am I kidding?
You are.
But, in my 20s, we were all traveling. Some of my friends were all traveling together, doing certain things for each other. As one of my friends is texting me now. Shout out to Adam Blackstone, who just announced that he is going to be the music director for the Oscars. He's somebody I met at like 18 years old. And he's all over the world. Like, he's doing amazing things. But anyway, yes, he's awesome. So I won't say him, but some of our other mutual friends who've also been traveling and doing music for a long time are like, girl, you're not tired of traveling? Like, you want to be in the airport? Send me all over the world. Like, there's still so much of the world I haven't seen, and I've seen a lot of the world. But it really, getting lost on streets where, in a place where English is not the first language there, like having to decipher the signs in the subway stations in Tokyo, or, trying to figure out the grid of Paris, or trying to figure out how to get from one place to another in Brazil, that stuff makes me thrive. Like, I really get so excited about all of it. And the moment I find out I'm going somewhere new, I immediately start immersing myself in the culture. I follow all the hashtags on Instagram. I'm reading on Wikipedia. about how the country was founded. Like, I just really, really, really love that. And I honestly think that if I wasn't a musician, I would probably be more into foreign affairs and in some other capacity as well, just because I just really, really love it. I have a couple friends who are in the foreign service, and basically what that is you pass this test, civil test, government test, and then they pay you to go to a country of their choosing at first. And they pay you for 1 to 3 years or more, depending on however long it takes for you to learn a language. To learn a language, like your job for 3 years is just to learn a language, and then after that, it's your work, which is basically facilitating relations between your culture and the culture where you are. So I would do something like that. I really get so much from just discovering new terrain. It could even be in the city, like during the pandemic when we couldn't travel. Early in the pandemic, I was taking the long way home, walking, just because I wanted to see what I hadn't seen yet. Uncovering things is just, it does a lot for me too.
Yes, I love that. I love, love, love that. Because pre-pandemic in 2019, you were all the way in China. And you were there for a long time, right? You were doing
I had a residency at the Lincoln Center in Shanghai.
Wow.
And it was literally like November 19th. So I remember coming back and telling people where I was, and they had just started announcing all the stuff, and they were like, "Ooh, girl, you okay?" You know?
Yeah, like, are you okay? That's nice.
I'm like, nice. So yeah, I was there. I was in Russia in 2019 as well. I was all over Japan. I was pretty much everywhere. Bangkok, all over the place, and I really love it. Like I feel like I could probably tour 200 days out of the year easy and be happy. Most of the year. If that's how I would design my life if I could design it at this very moment.
Wow.
And a lot of people are like, "Did I miss my own bed?" And I'm like, a bed is a bed. Like, as long as it's clean and it's comfortable.
Yes.
I'm good. I can sleep anywhere. I'm good. Like,
you're good. Laurin, when you were in China, I remember, I keep on saying I remember because I follow you on social media because, like I said, the way that you storytell, I love the way that you, the content that you push on social media. It is just beautiful and it captures me. So if you ever wondering, yeah, you got me. Okay. I am captured by it.
Yes.
And so I remember, yes. I am a journaler. I love to journal.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when you were in China, Japan.
It was Japan when I got the journal name.
Yes. I'm like all over the place.
I've got so many journals, and I literally write in all the other ones for the most part because I want to wait until, like, I don't want to run out of pages before I can go back and get the pages from that place in Tokyo. But yeah, it was such a great. It was
so just fulfilling and satisfying to watch because I have not traveled yet. I've not been outside of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I just got my passport last year.
Yeah, you got it. That's all.
Yeah,
you got a milestone coming up. Set your aim for traveling. Yes. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm gonna do, Laurin. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna do that.
Between you and I, we know we might be doing some traveling soon.
We absolutely might be doing some traveling soon.
Talking about it.
And I can't wait. Mm-hmm. But I just know that when you open yourself up to other cultures and different experiences, that it has. I know that it just has the potential and the ability to just open your mind up and your imagination up. So when you're writing songs, when you're doing your songwriting, tell me how that works for you. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
So it's pretty much the same. I'm really, whatever I'm inspired about in life is what I'm writing about. So if it's not specifically a song about traveling, it's a song about what I'm seeing when I'm traveling. It's a song about maybe nature's in there somewhere because there's some beautiful landscapes in Tokyo, or you know, maybe I'm feeling a little confined because I can't really go out at a certain time in this country or that country. So I'm writing about that. But literally, my surroundings are everything. That's what's informing what I'm writing about. So I write a lot on airplanes. I write a lot in my hotel rooms, and I always am going to find a park of some sort and write in there too.
I love it. I love it. How long have you been writing music?
So I started out as a diary girl. Like I had my little journals and diaries. I was writing down all my thoughts. As soon as I learned how to write, I was like, oh, I'm writing. For as long as I can remember, I was writing, probably 6 or 7. And so then I started writing poems. I would write little poems. We learned about the forms of different poems, you know, sonnets and soliloquies and all other kind of stuff. Yes. And so I started doing that. And then naturally, I started thinking about songs. I remember at one point, it must have been 9th or 10th grade, we were tasked with writing a song based on something in Shakespeare's writing that we were like describing. So we had to describe a scenario that was happening between the Montagues and Capulets. And I was like, oh, I can write this. Like, I'll write it and then I'll teach it to everybody who can sing it. And that had to be when I was about 14 or 15 years old. So I've been writing songs for a little bit. They've gotten better, thank God. But yeah.
Yeah. Look, and I told you we're going to circle back to it. One of my favorite songs that you have written is Winter. And I want to know, because not only is the music beautiful, but the messaging, when you listen to the message in the music, is really powerful. Because I think right now we're in a season where people are like, well, I don't know if you're experiencing this on your end, but on my end, I got married at 25, right? And so when I got married, there were a lot of us that got married at that time, right? It was 25. People were like, it seems like it's time to do this. But the winter.
A lot of them have not made it.
I was about to say, winter has taken them out. Like it wasn't a season. It was literally something that took them out. And so I love in your song, it's just talking about, hey, this relationships, they ebb and flow. Like we'll have different seasons. And so I wonder if you can just talk to me a little bit about, you know, the motivation for where that song came from. And just the beautiful and the beautiful lyrics that go with it. Like it's just beautiful.
You know, thank you. I think it's, for me at least, if I'm involved with an asshole, then I could just be like, peace, I'm out, ain't no turning back, you know. And so that would be that song. But you know, if you're involved with somebody and it's a little bit more complicated, it's just that, you know, you're not gelling together, or, you know, you're not compatible anymore, because that happens sometimes too. You grow in different directions. Then it kind of hurts a little more when you know you have to end it, and you know, okay, I'm going through the motions. Love doesn't live here anymore in the sense that it did, and transitioning from that romantic love to whatever else comes after that is not, it's in retrospect, it is beautiful because it's very complex, and it's not like I hate you or you did me wrong. It's literally, we just ain't it anymore, and but we're both afraid to say it. And so will we break up today? Will we break up tomorrow? What is this? But we know this is the season where it probably won't go past this. And so that's where the song came from. Just still having love and respect for that person, and still wanting to kind of hang on, but knowing it's coming. It's coming because it just can't work anymore. And so that's her in a nutshell.
Like you said, don't know how to move on.
Yeah, because you know, it's familiar. It feels like normal, and it's like, all right, when I walk out of this door, it's about to be freezing cold. I don't know what awaits me on the other side of this door, but coldness, emptiness, maybe a little loneliness. But
Yes.
so I don't know how to actually take the step to walk out. But I know I probably should because it's over.
Mm,
And
mm.
you know too, pretty much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You know, ooh, I'm like, that was me and my business last year. Winter it came,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, I don't know how to move on, but you knew that in your heart, look, you knew that I knew that in my heart that I was like, winter is probably here, and
Winter's
so
here.
it's like I said, it's just beautifully made. I love the lyrics, and it is so relevant not only to just relationships, but to a couple of different
Yeah.
areas.
I find
You
that
know?
a lot of my songs, and it's probably just because of the way I think about life. Like
Hmm.
I think early on, I seen unsavory things. I saw
Hmm.
relationships unnecessarily go awry between adults in my life when I was a kid.
Yes.
Um, and for me, I had to rationalize and work out a way to observe that without being so wounded every time. You know what I mean? Or without taking things as personally and kind of looking at everything as if it's just the way of life, as
Mm.
opposed to being like, this is the worst thing that happened to me ever in the world. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yes.
that's something that's been able to sustain me through the music industry for sure. Because things you're not always getting yeses. It's a lot of
Yes.
hard work behind the scenes, and
Mhm.
just getting people to feel as passionate about your vision as you do is something that doesn't always come easy because not everybody's gonna be there for a whole long time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's really there's a lot of little tiny micro heartbreaks that come along, platonic or romantic, business or personal,
Yes.
that I've learned that I had to kind of look at through a certain lens so that I could keep moving. So that's
Yes.
probably why most of my songs I think can apply to a couple different.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Lauren, if you can just talk to us about the industry. So, how is it being a Black woman in your industry? Because I know that you are not just one genre of music, that you are able to do a large amount of music in different genres. So, can you just kind of talk to us a little bit about that, especially like with your position in the Recording Academy?
Mm. Well, um, I think as a Black woman in the industry, I think for me, what's been really key in life and in the industry is that I don't put myself in a box. I don't
Mm,
say, well, I'm a Black woman, so they're gonna be looking at me like this. I
mm,
literally go in having the best expectations. And there
mm,
was a point in my life where for a hot second, through heartbreak, I was like, and this is again in my 20s, I was like, well, maybe I should lower my expectations so it doesn't hurt as much when I get
mm,
rejected or when I feel, a no comment, or if I'm met with anything less than exuberant yes. Because
mm.
I feel everything so deeply and I express everything so boldly.
Yeah.
So when I didn't get that in return, it would hurt. And if
Mm,
any betrayal or betrayal of my trust would really wound me deeply. So for a second, I was like, okay, I got to manage my expectations. I got to like prepare myself for, the unsavory outcomes. And then it's like a small voice, it was probably God, said,
yes.
why would you do that? Like, you are you. This is what you
Yes.
need to expect. So no matter how many no's and heartbreaks you get, expect the best outcomes because it's going to hurt more if you're not bringing those best outcomes to you because you've
Mm,
lowered the energy around your expectations. So expect people to do good to you and say yes to you all the time. And in the event they don't, know it's for your best. So
mm,
how I kind of live now. And I honestly, a lot of people in my life are just like, they can feel and see racism and
mhm,
sexism and all that stuff very strongly, very clearly, and they focus and hone in on that. I see
mm,
it, but then I just let it. I observe it and I let it go because I don't
mm,
want it to weigh me down. And I always speak up for myself as a Black woman. I'll speak up for other Black women and other women, but I'm not going to dwell in that space of their low energy. So what I do is just present my best self in every scenario. I'm not the type of person, if I meet somebody, if I walk in a room and I say good morning and nobody says anything, I'm not gonna be like F them. Like I'm literally gonna be like, good morning, like, you know, we got something to be excited about. And that might be annoying to some people, but for me, I'm like, oh, I'm not letting your little shadiness get me down, or I'm not letting your little bad vibes rub off on me. I've been this way forever. This is not, I know a lot of people are trying to talk themselves into that at this point, and there's like a whole social media push around good vibes and good energy and all the other kind of stuff. And while I didn't necessarily call it good energy or low energy, I always subscribe to speak when you walk into a room, or present your best self when you walk into a room. I want to look the way I want to look. The way I dress makes me feel good, so I'm wearing whatever I want to wear. The songs I sing resonate with me, and I can feel them, and I believe the lyrics. So I think that'll impact whoever it's supposed to get to. I'm not really too concerned with external circumstances. And I think that's part of what's propelled me and got me where I am now. I want to go a whole bunch more places, wider and, you know, higher. But I think being authentic is the best way, because every time I've tried not to be authentic, every time I've tried to sing a song because somebody wanted me to sing it, or I thought it would get me the audition or the gig, every time I've, you know, tried to alter how I felt in the situation and betray my own feelings, I hated it. Like every single time. It only took me about 5 times to figure out, Laurin, you're not like other people. You can't act like other people. You can't respond as if that person is responding to you. You have to do you. And if some people view that as you being too naive or too kind or whatever, then let them. But until I'm finished, I'm going to just be who I have to be. And I think that's something that is going to continue to take me down the path, that the divine path that God has for me. So yeah, I experience it. I experience, you know, interesting things being a Black woman in the industry, but then I move right past them and I get where I'm supposed to go. That's my answer to that. Another thing I want to say too is just, so I do work as cultural ambassador for the United States. I go to new populations. Well, I spread jazz to new populations, meaning this last tour I did with the US, they sent me to Ukraine, Poland, and Montenegro. And I went, and some people were looking at me like, where the heck did she come from? She's like, because, you know, folks look alike, whatever. I ain't look like nobody in these places. And right. So I'm like walking down the street and doing whatever. And at first, the look is normally bewilderment. Like, what is that? Who is it? And then if they actually come up to me and talk to me, then it's, oh, like there's a recognition. We're human. We're both like the same. Oh, she does this. She likes this. I like this. I like that. And like, we're just going back and forth. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about doing that kind of work, is that you can see yourself just by existing without trying, just changing the way people view people just by existing. Because a lot of these places that I've gone to, China included, you watch TV, there's no Black people on TV. Like literally the soap operas, the reality shows, the news, there's nobody that looks like me on the news or any of those things I just named. So to act, the only examples they have is propaganda or some random movie that only depicts one type of character. Black character. So what I love about going places and just showing up as me is that they get the Black girl from the inner city of Cleveland, and they also get the woman who's traveled all over the place and been blessed with a whole get me, my own special mixture of me. And then they realize, and I see it, I can almost touch it. They see all Black people aren't alike. Wait a minute, all people aren't alike. And I should know that because I'm not like her that I've been growing up with forever. So you can see them actually kind of challenging their own view and lens about life. And
Mm.
I love to be that conduit. So through song or just by existing. So
Mm.
that's something that I relish in. I like my quiet time, but I also am not drained by social interaction at all. Like I'm not gonna
Mm.
be the singer and the dancer in the middle of the room if I'm not performing. I'm not about to be trying to get everybody's attention. That's not my personality.
Yes.
But I don't mind attention in the least bit. So if
Mm.
anybody ever wants to walk up to me and ask me a question, people could feel it coming off me. So they always walk up to me and talk to me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that God has used that to actually foster um, some sort of enlightenment in
Mm.
people. I think he'll continue to do that in ways that I don't even know yet. So
Mm.
if I changed the way I related to the world based on how I was feeling by some external stimulants, then I wouldn't be able to be that conduit. So I just, the more I live, the more I realize that whatever God's purpose is for me, I'm gonna stay right there.
Mm. Lauren, thank you for that. Like when I tell you I took that and I just soaked it all in. Um, we don't need to be trying to be anybody else. We are who we are. We are created the way God created us
Mm-hmm.
for our lives. Like and I love that because that's what I get from you when I see you on stage or when I see you in your social media content. That's exactly, you are just like, this is just who I am. You will see me either with a baseball cap, or I'll probably put on a little beret. But I would definitely have on my Ruby Woo. Shout out to
That's
Ruby
exactly what
Woo.
I'm wearing right now.
Me too. I was like, I'm gonna put on Ruby
That's
Woo
so universal.
today. I did.
Yes. I
Yes,
see people all the time like that are like, I can't wear red. I'm like, get Ruby Woo.
that's
You
it.
think you can't wear red, but it looks good on literally every complexion I know, like everyone. And they're
Me
like,
too.
okay, but it's red. No, get Ruby Woo.
Yeah,
So
Ruby
yeah,
Woo, it's the way to go. It is literally the way to go. I agree. So thank you for that. Like,
you're
thank you for
welcome.
that. That was beautiful. And it's at a time in my life where I really did need to hear that. So thank you for that for me.
You're welcome.
And just for everyone else. Now, there was someone on your timeline that said, oh, it was the Reclaimed. She said, when Lauren, she heard you at the Kimmel Center, I
Hmm.
believe, and she said when Lauren opened her mouth, she painted colors with her voice.
I was so touched by that when I just was like, oh my God. Because I was so nervous to premiere new music.
Oh,
And I was really blessed with the opportunity to have my music commissioned by Chamber Music America through a grant called New Jazz Works. And that news came during the pandemic. So I was like over the moon. I literally cried when they
oh,
told me, because I didn't have a lot to look forward to in my mind. Like my whole
yes,
calendar had just been wiped. I just felt like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
yes.
And that call came through. So I was really happy. So I took the entire pandemic. I've been writing this music since 2020.
Now,
And
hold on, Lauren. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
mm,
can you break down what that means to have your music
so,
commissioned?
so there's a grant, and they picked, I forget however many people, it's between maybe 12 and 15 people. They narrowed down all these applications to choose 12 to 15 people to have their works actually paid for. So basically, what happens is, partially anyway.
Mhm.
So what
Yes.
happens is you have to do 3 live performances, and they help you with the fees and stuff for the performances. And then after you've satisfied, well, first you have to write the music. First you have to write the music and send them the music that you wrote,
Okay.
and like send them the sheet music. And then after that, they compensate you a little bit for like a composer's fee.
Yes.
And then um, you have to perform the music 3 times or so. And then after that, you can unlock another portion of the grant. Some grants are unrestricted, so they just give you a whole bunch of money and say, and I'm manifesting that next kind of grant.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
they just give you a whole bunch of money and say, here's $100K, do whatever
Yes.
you want. And
Yes.
for me, that means go move to another country for about a month, sit in that culture and get immersed, right, and then come back home.
Yes.
So that's what I'm actually manifesting for next year. But for this one, it's a restricted grant, which means there are tenets each step of the way that you have to complete or that you have to meet before another portion opens. So the first portion of the grant is composing and performing it. And then after that, you have what's called the continued life of it. So that can mean some video, or it can mean an album, or it can mean anything. And they have set aside a certain portion of the funds to actually help you record it or video it or put it in, do an installation somewhere, whatever it is that you view for the continued life of this work that you've created. And every step of the way, they're trying to help you out. So, and any help counts, because making music is, if you want to do it the right way, it's not cheap. And I think if you want to compensate your musicians as well as you can, if you want to actually have a good recording session with qualified engineers running your session, and the most important thing, because many of us who are watching this can sing as sure as the sky is blue. We can sing our butts off, we can rap, we can do whatever. We're talented.
Yeah.
We've been blessed in this way. But if you don't have a good mix and master, it can take a beautiful, masterful performance and turn it into an amateur sounding thing. And a lot of people don't get that. Like, that's the most important thing outside of actually being prepared and performing the songs to the best of your ability. That mixing and mastering is what takes your project from here to radio or here to touring. And when you want to actually have your music be exposed all over the world, you can't have it sounding shoddy because somebody thinks they can mix and master. There's so many jacks of all trades, but no, I'm somebody who, no matter how talented everyone is around me and what they can do in all these different realms, I know who I'm taking it to mix and master it, and that's who's doing it, period. I'm not trying to cut costs. I'm trying to actually just get it done well. And that's something I want to leave everybody who's working on their project with now. Make sure the mix and the master is good, and compare it to what you're listening to on your favorite sounding record, whatever it is. Listen to your music and then listen to that. And if it's not coming through as clear and as loud on your headphones as it is when you listening on Apple Music or Tidal or whatever you do, then go back and get it mixed the right way, because that's something that really, really, really can affect the success of your project. But anyway, with all that said, I'm happy to be having help from Chamber Music America, and it's actually the Doris Duke Foundation too, to help me get some of that stuff, help me with some of those costs associated with excellence.
Wow. Congratulations, Laurin.
Thank you.
That's huge. And yeah, we are believing for that $100,000 one.
We're getting there.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Yeah. So tell us about your new album.
So the new project, so I'll go back because I want to have something to compare it to. So my first project was made in 2016. It's been a little while. And I like to take my time with things. I found that when I rush with anything, I never like it. It feels rushed to me. And so I decided when I got done with that album that I didn't want to do that again. Perhaps I won't have, 5-6 years elapsed between this project and the next one. But I don't mind that it ended up being this way, because I needed to connect with folks that I was connecting with. I was able to write and have this music produced by a very talented man named Kamau Kenyatta, who actually produced Gregory Porter's records, many of them, my favorite ones of his records.
Yes.
And he just has a way of pulling out of you. A good producer knows what's going to make a song pop, and knows in terms of like its structure, knows what needs to be repeated and that kind of stuff, but also hears and sees in you what you can't hear and see in yourself sometimes. Sometimes you don't know, you're just existing as yourself, but you don't know what it is about your voice that other people really, 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 really hone into. So a great producer is going to pull that out and make sure it's amplified on every song. So he's awesome, and I'm really excited to be working with him. And so the last project was about love. Gorgeous Chaos is about just the chaotic part of being in love in your late teens and 20s. It's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of crying and making up. I hate him. I love him. A lot of extremes, as you're still coming to me. You think you know everything, but you don't, and you learn. And that's the gorgeous part of it. The gorgeous part is all the lessons you get in the process, hopefully, and the blooming of you. So I wrote about that, and I love singing about love. I'm always going to sing about love. But this next project is more about the things that I've seen in my life, the things I've seen as I've grown, the things I've heard that people have told me, the oral history that I have inside of me, the aunties I've got, the people in my life I've seen struggle with drugs or just life, all of it, good and bad. Is presented in a way that's not biased. I really tried hard to just present these stories as I heard them or as I saw them. And a lot of them don't have a lot to do with me. I'm kind of just on a periphery watching it unfold. And I'm not saying this person is bad because they did this, or that person is good because they were able to do this. I'm just saying this is what happened. This is what they chose. This is what they did. Does it apply to you? I don't know, but here it goes. And because of that, it was such uncharted territory for me. I didn't know how people would relate to it because I'm used to telling my own story. I could tell that for days. As you can see right now, I could talk for a long time. I don't mind.
Yes.
But to tell other stories and to ones that are really close to me, scenarios and situations that made me who I am and that have me looking at the world the way I do. The scenarios that have transformed the way I looked at the world. I used to villainize some folks, that they did when they were just trying to survive. And that's when you're younger. You you thought this is good or bad, and that's part of survival. Your parents are teaching you this is good, this is bad. Stay away from that. Stay away from her.
Yes.
Walking down the street and search for something, you don't want to have nothing to do with that. You see her, go the other way.
Yes.
Whatever. But as you spend more time on this earth, you realize that people really are doing the best with what they have at that time. They're not trying to, most people, obviously there are exceptions, most people aren't trying to wound or injure people. They're just really trying to do what they have to do to get through. And sometimes it comes with addictions and other unsavory things that have to happen. And you kind of just got to have empathy for people, and also just take it at face value, and also just listen to yourself, decide how you're feeling, and listen to them. That's the best we can do. That's the least we can do, but also the very best we can do. So that's what the new music's about. The project is called Museum of Living Stories because these stories are alive. And I think about living stories, and I haven't talked about this with anybody else, but the museum obviously is holding all this artifacts, those are the stories.
Yeah.
But there is a living element to these stories because as long as you tell them, as long as they're listened to or viewed or observed, they're living. We have stories inside of us that we've heard from our grandmothers, who heard it from their grandmothers, and who they heard from their grandmothers. So these stories from the 1700s, 1800s are living today because we were told a certain thing. There are church hymns that have been around since, we were brought to this country.
Yes.
And they're sung today. That's living, the word is a living testament. So stories stay alive when we tell them and when we share. So that was the living part of it. And that's really, really, really important. When I go home, and I'm so grateful to God I did this, but I recently lost an uncle last April. And he was my favorite uncle. And I, right before the pandemic, I literally recorded him just talking about, I went home opened my voice memos and like just recorded him talking about my dad. My dad was interrupting him because he's loud and obnoxious sometimes. Because he was about to tell too much of the business, so my dad was kind of like, but I have his voice on my phone just telling me these things that I had never heard, like a scenario that I had never heard about my dad, a facet of him that I would have never had if I didn't have the context from my uncle. And I encourage everybody to do that. Whenever you're around your family, especially the elders, talk to them, get them remembering stuff, because then they won't stop, and press record on your phone. And obviously, most of it can stay with you. And when you're ready, you can share that with your children or the youth in your family. But it's really, really important those oral histories are so important, specifically to us as Black folks, because that's really all we have in a lot of ways. I'm really into genealogy. It's one of my favorite hobbies. And it's interesting how until Ancestry DNA was created, we would hear, oh, your grandmother was from here, or your grandfather was from there, or your great-great-grandfather was from there. They had an accent. I don't know where they were from, that kind of thing. Yeah. But and we think that, your third great-grandmother had children by the master, whatever it is. And hearing all these things, but you don't know until you go to Ancestry DNA and you got all these cousins from England and Scotland and all over the place that bear the same name that you have, because the oral histories were true. They just weren't documented for us. And unfortunately, we don't have the African component to that part of our history. We don't have that orally, there won't be much proof until other things change. But some of it's lost. But it's interesting, like kind of hearing what I've heard my whole life and then laying it to the actual DNA that I see in front of me, and the matches that I have on there. So it's just, I just want to drive home the point that oral history and stories are so integral to our survival and going through life. And that's what this whole new project's about.
Oh. Yeah, I look, I love to use my imagination. So a lot of times when others are storytelling, I literally just look, I'm there with you. I'm like, absolutely. Delija also said that, yes, I have recordings of my grandfather, and they are
I see it now.
Precious. Yes, she did. She said they are so precious to me. And oh my goodness, I'm blown away because I'm very into history as well. I remember when I was in college and taking music history, I remember just being like, oh my goodness, I literally feel like I'm there right now, like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And even when you get into like the music and the history, I mean, it literally is mind blowing. So to hear that you have an interest in that.
Oh, it goes deep. I'm really excited to even delve further for the next couple of projects that I have in mind. Yeah. So I'm really into kind of everything's related. So I really want to show that in my music, and I think it's for some divine purpose that God placed that on my heart to kind of show that interweaving between cultures, between people, between music, stories, and all that stuff. So
wow.
Yeah. I wish I had a recording of my grandfather's talking to me. That's a beautiful thing.
Isn't that beautiful?
Both mine passed away when I was pretty young, and the ones that I grew up knowing. So it's tough. And the one who passed away the most recently, we didn't live close to each other, so I couldn't get to him that often. But man, that's such a blessing. I'm so glad she has those recordings, because there's stuff a grandfather can tell you that in a way that nobody else can.
Yes, Laurin, I agree. I lost my grandpa in 2019.
Okay.
And, like I hear his voice, like, that deep Southern voice, like, I still hear it, and I can hear it very, very clear in my mind right now. So I absolutely agree. And I know that we're coming on time, and I just wanted to see if you could just give us a small piece of something from your album that's coming up.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, so I look, I'm here for the I'm here for the vocals.
Um, let's see what new song I want to do. Let me think about this for a minute.
Sure,
Um,
sure. Take your time. Think it through.
um, I'll sing a little bit of a song that I wrote called Rain Song.
Okay.
It is a song that I wrote um, pretty much after that vicious news cycle about George Floyd. I had tried
Mm.
to escape seeing the video footage of what happened. And one day, my partner and I were in a living room and the TV was on, but it was on silent. And I'm not a big TV watcher unless it's like a show that I know. Like most of the time, if he wasn't here, like I would have the TV off all day.
Yeah.
I'm used to that.
Yes.
And so it was on, but I wasn't paying attention and I was working and I was either writing something on my laptop and I had both of them next to me. And I happened to look up at the moment where the officer had his knee on George Floyd's neck. And it's the look on George Floyd's face and all of that. And I saw it and I was immediately just shook. I just felt so horrible because I heard it described on all these, forums and on social media and people having these reactions to it. And I knew that it would haunt me if I saw it. And that's what happened. For like 2 nights, I could not sleep. I would sleep for like 2 hours and then just wake up in the middle of the night and stay up until the morning. It was a really interesting time. So one of the nights I heard this melody in my head and the song pretty much wrote itself. So this is how it goes. The scent of rain comes wafting through my window on a late summer day. I step out on the porch and see the skies turn gray. Then sat down on the steps until the showers came. No sleeping days, 'cause every time I close my eyes, I see his face. How could I forget the way he pleaded? While satisfied, they watched his last breath leave him. It comes in waves, grief so strong that it could overtake me. So damn full of tears, my levee's breaking. I can't hold it in no more, I'm shaking. And so it goes. And then it goes on and on and on and on. But that's like a bit of the first verse into the second.
Laurin, I look, excuse me. I'm just gonna go ahead and clear my voice. Serena said, absolutely beautiful. That is my sister. I agree. Absolutely beautiful, Laurin. I cannot wait to see you again live. Delijah said, wow, beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Come back to Denver anytime. We need you. I know that the altitude is high here. I remember you on stage like, woo, the altitude is high.
Yes, but it was okay. It ended up working. I got used to it. I love it there. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
We got to go out a little bit afterwards. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, we did. And it was, I just know that I'm sorry, I'm speechless right now because I love hearing you sing, Laurin. I
Thank
do.
you.
I love your voice. I mean, it is literally like when she said you opened your mouth and you painted colors with your voice, like that is true. Like that is what you do. And I am just so grateful that you are still going forward in your gifting and with just sharing your gift literally with the world, Laurin. You are the bomb. Do you hear
Thank
me?
you. It's so
You
funny
are
to hear that
at,
from somebody that, I respect. And I really, it's nothing like talking to your sisters and feeling that love from them and having them affirm you. That's different than anybody else. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time
exactly.
to like actually put this together and also to share that with me. It means a lot.
Absolutely, Laurin. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see oh,
I see what she
I'm sorry.
said.
Yeah,
You know
she
what?
said
Tell Rob that. I'm gonna talk to him too.
yeah, Trini said I was praying you would be on Black Radio 3 with Robert
Yeah.
Glasper.
Tell him that. He's mingling with the superstars right now, but we'll get there.
Girl,
I'm gonna talk to him about 4.
yes, that's right. Look at my sister Trina. She's really she's into music as well, but on a different level than me because
Okay.
she knows all the backside stuff. I'm like, what is black music? What's Black Radio 3? But
Yeah, Rob just released a new project, and so it's got
oh,
everybody on it from like her to I think Terrace Martin. All these different people are on it. So for him just
oh,
being on your album, yeah, he was
yeah,
just on one song. He was just on Winter, the song that we talked
Winter.
about earlier. He played
Yeah, he
so but yeah, maybe in the future, not this project that I'm doing now, but maybe another one. That'd be nice.
absolutely because you guys do so much good work together. Like
Thank
I
you.
said, so I yes, so just thank you, Laurin. Thank you for just coming on. I know that you are a busy, busy woman, but just know that I do not take it for granted that you just stopped for a little bit of time just to talk with me and converse with me. So just know that I am filled to overflowing just hearing your stories and just sitting under your wisdom. I really do appreciate who you are, and girl, I cannot wait to see you again.
Thank
And I know that whatever is coming, I know that this is going to be such a big stepping stone for your career, for what's going on with your new album. And what was it? At the Reclaim said, she said, put it on vinyl. When I tell you, I was like, ooh, to hear you on vinyl.
Thank you. I'm going to, and I really do feel like this new project is going to do something different for me in my career. Don't know exactly what, but I do feel it's a
Yeah.
different stepping into a different zone with this new material and the different sonics because it doesn't sound a lot like my last project either. It sounds very different. So
Great,
I'm excited.
Laurin. Great. I'm excited too. And I can't wait. Like I said, I am coming to see you in person. I cannot wait to do that so that I can just sit there, just let it all just soak in. But any last words before we get ready to leave? I'm sorry, I'm so used to working with kids. I'm like, before we dismiss for the day, I'm like,
Before we just class, I just would leave everybody with like I pray that everybody experiences some sort of deep joy this week, some ease in whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, and I pray that if there's any blockages, like you guys experience some sort of breakthrough, whether it's creatively or just emotionally. That's all.
man, Laurin, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you, Candice. Thank you for having
No,
me.
absolutely. So if nothing else, we are going to get out of here. Look at my sister Trina. She loves you. She said, thank you, ladies. And we till next time, this concludes our Unapologetic Black Woman series. What a great way to conclude. I am just over the moon behind every single woman that I've talked to this month. It just shows just how dynamic we are and how unstoppable we are. And so we are not going to stop no time soon. We're putting our foot on the gas. So y'all better get ready for the Black woman because we are in here, y'all. Okay. So we're going to get out of here. We'll see you later. Thank you so much, Laurin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.